Hello and welcome to NXT. No, taking over. Still can't get that right. I'll probably never get that right. Screw it. We should just change the name of the show. I am the bad guy, OLED Ed Fries, and I'm joined by the nice one, Astrid Pizarro. That's a joke for one person and one person alone. You know who you are. We want to thank you all for joining us tonight. This was an Fun episode of NXT tonight. We got Noob and Co jumping in saying hello, everyone. We've got Mark Toxin Play saying hey. We got in the Hot Seat podcast giving us a nice little wave. And we have that one person in the chat laughing at my one person. Ash, what'd you think of tonight's episode of NXT?
Pretty good. I feel like usually when it comes to like the show after a big like PLE, we kind of get a little bit of a filler, so it's not always great. But yeah, today was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it definitely held up its end of the bargain as far as the Great American Bash weekend goes. It doesn't always.
It's okay. He doesn't get the name. I don't get the pointing thing right. We're even now. So
Barry Monkey says hello. Hello, Barry. I wish I had the excuse of our European brethren who watch this show at 3:00 in the morning, so we graciously appreciate that, and that I could just say that that's that reason that I don't get the show's name right. We cover NXT. I used to talk about a show called NXT, and I haven't got used to the whole taking over. It's only been 8 months, 9 months. Still not used to it yet.
Dang.
By the time I get used to it, we'll have officially changed the name of the show and done something silly. This show it started with a video package, which nobody ever cares about because the video packages are stuff that 90% of us have already
It was too long.
It was too long. My problem with these video packages, they do these 4-minute video packages before the show starts, and then they give us 2-minute clips of them after commercial breaks for 3 different segments during the show to cover a single match, and I'm just like, why don't you just give us a 1-minute clip of this throughout the entire show of each match, and just do it that way?
Because they don't do the things that make sense. No, I'm kidding.
Then chaos ensues. We've got the family arriving to the arena. Stax is very happy, raising his brand new NXT Tag Team Championship. Oh, he's instantly attacked by Wolfgang. Mark Coffey goes ahead and attacks Tony D'Angelo. Joe Coffey's in there attacking. And Gallus gets the better of the D'Angelo family right out the gate. I like this. This is fun. It gives us chaos. It tells us that this isn't quite over yet. Could be better, could be worse. It's a whole bunch of fun. I like seeing people get beat up in the NXT park, proving once again that the NXT parking lot is the most dangerous.
Oh my god, I forgot about that for a moment. But one thing I like about NXT though too, with the opens, is that it's always different. Sometimes we get the people already in the ring and the match is gonna start. Sometimes we get a match right away. Sometimes we get a promo. Sometimes we get an attack. So it's like you never know how NXT is really gonna open until it airs. But it's what I like about it, that it's always different. It doesn't go the same every single week with just a promo, like a 20-minute promo to start the show.
Yeah, it bounces around from this thing to that thing, and it's never predictable, shall we say. Speaking of predictable and being unpredictable, while the middle of Vic Joseph and Booker T doing their introduction to the show, Jacy Jayne comes wandering in and interrupts Vic and slaps him and grabs his headset and says that she's going to take out Lyra Valkyria, and I went, oh, okay, so you're losing tonight. Good to know. I appreciate that. I appreciate knowing ahead of time that you're losing. I thought you were already, but now you've told me that you're going to lose.
No.
Chris Best jumping in. I've been loving the unpredictability WWE has a whole lately.
As a whole has had lately.
As a whole has had lately. Yes, WWE as a whole has had.
Yeah.
I added the comma where it belongs.
I appreciate that.
We then get Lyra Valkyria versus Jacy Jayne. It was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was fine.
Yeah, I just felt like, okay, so this is what my point of view was on this. Because you get the storyline with her and Rhea telling her, to be this certain person and be this badass. And I'm like, I'm still wondering what that means, what it entails when it comes to Lyra first. So am I thinking, okay, she did a decent job beforehand with Rhea, and I feel like we saw that part of her being a badass with Rhea last week. Fine. We saw a little bit of continuation with that when she was brawling with Jacy backstage at the Great American Bash. Sounds good. And then tonight I'm like waiting for that to continue on, and it just disappeared. It's like, what happened? I was waiting for her to show a little bit more aggressiveness and show a little bit more what she was like versus Rhea last week, and then to like show a little bit more something different. I was like, there's nothing I could really highlight in this match, really. Even the ending, just did like her Play-Doh splashes, like, whoop, and that was it. And I'm like, so we went one step forward, three steps back. Good to know. Yeah, it just
story for the night for the women's division tonight. 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to write about WWE next, apparently.
And again, like I've always said, if NXT does good with the women, we praise them for the good work. When NXT does bad with the women, we call it like it is. And they didn't do a bad job tonight. But they did things and then seemingly undid things. Because Jayne, starting this match, felt like a badass. Felt like what Lyra Valkyria should have done. Lyra should have been the one who came out to the commentary booth, slapped Vic Joseph around, and called Jayne out to the ring, and then attacked Jayne on her way to the ring like Jayne did to Lyra. That would have been continuation of the story, like Astrid says. In this, Jacy comes out and shows the forethought to be the bad guy. Jayne's the one who beats up the person coming to the ring in the smoke and all that entrance crap, but Lyra still does nothing for her. And it's just, like you said, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Her matches are getting better. This match was good, but there was nothing memorable. It was 4 or 5 minutes of nothing memorable. It was actually probably longer than that because they had about 2 minutes before, they had a 4-minute ad break, and then 2 or 3 minutes after.
And I feel like most of the match happened during the ad break too. That's another thing that I noticed tonight with this particular match. And just like, so I'm thinking it this way too, is like when she faces Rhea, she's like learning a lesson. So you're kind of expected to apply that lesson moving forward after she's learned it. And then tonight, just it wasn't like I said she learned anything. And it just, I was hoping for something more like, I don't want to say flashy, but something a little bit more for making her stand out. You know, something with maybe a different kind of finisher to make her stand out there as well. Like you said, they could have changed it and make her attack and call out Jacy. That would have started making her look more like a badass. Like, I want the challenge. I'm here to welcome it. And it just, tonight, it felt like the character didn't learn anything from what Rhea taught her last week. And just, what was the point now in the match last week and when we had this tonight?
Moving on to the next segment, we get Carmelo backstage. And speaking of progression of story, here we go as a perfect example. Trick and Mello are backstage, and Trick's like, you were getting your butt kicked, and I didn't know if you were going to win, so I had to do my trick magic and go and get that title right in front of your face and motivate you. And Mello's like, yeah, I needed it. I was in a rough spot. I needed that little bit of extra gear, that extra motivation. And Trick's like, but I got to go ahead and start doing things on my own. And I'm like, oh God, he's going to look at that title and they're going to have the match. Like, I'm just like, that's how it's going to happen. And he's like, no, I need to go do stuff on my own. I need to, spread my wings and fly. Papa Bello, I need to go somewhere else. I love how he says, I'm not a sidekick. And Bello's like, dude, I never called you a sidekick. And he's like, no, but they do. He's like, they think I'm your sidekick. They don't think I can do it. I need to go out there and deal with Dragunov. I need to go out there and become a champion. Because I'm not the champion, you're the champion. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's him calling his shot. So I have a feeling Mello's last match in NXT is going to be Trick versus Mello, and Mello gets called up.
Yeah, because I was thinking if you go think of the roster in itself, I was like, what championship is he really going to go for? And I was like, what about the one that's right in front of him? And as he was saying, oh, I gotta go my own way. I just kept thinking of "Gotta Go My Own Way" from the High School Musical movie, and I just kept thinking of that song in the background because that would have played off for him so well during this segment. But I'm not gonna sing. I promise you that.
But no, I like this, and like they said, this isn't a breakup. Like, this isn't Trick Mello breaking up. We're like together, we're tight, but it's them each doing their own thing. So like Dar Amazing says, let's hope they end on good terms instead of it's complicated. Yeah. Their Facebook status says it's complicated, but they're not broken up just yet. This is the build for Melo versus Trick, where Trick wins and Melo goes. That's exactly what I think. This could be the first part of that vignette
Mark, you
of what
started
happens
this.
when. No, destroy him. Ilya's promo at the end of the show. We'll talk about it now because it's the only. It really doesn't matter for anything else in the entire show other than this. Ilya has a promo where he talks about Trick and he's like, "If it wasn't for you, Trick, I'd be the NXT champion right now." And so you want a piece of me? You're not done with me? Great, because I'm not done with you. And I'm going to go ahead and destroy you. And I'm like, oh, great, cool. So Ilya's going up to the main roster after SummerSlam. Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, not the Russian Destroyer. He's going to go ahead and job to Trick next week, and he'll be on Raw the following week.
Pretty much.
Honestly, that's how I think it's going to go. I don't think Ilya's long for NXT. He was never should have been long for NXT. He's too good and too ready for the main roster to be hanging around in NXT. And unlike the women's division, they don't need to keep people behind to keep teaching the younger girls how to work. The men have more than enough veteran talent who know what the hell they're doing to be able to continue sending talent to the main roster. Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, both are ready to go to the main roster. Let's keep Dijak down because honestly, Dijak's not going to do well on the main roster. Let's just keep him where he belongs at NXT. He'd be nice and safe. I got Chris Best jumping in. Not going to lie, I did think Trink was going to go Virgil on Melo and plant that title on his head at the bash. Dude, I was, as the clip will tell you later this week, terrified.
Well, I was going to say, I posted it on Twitter, but I know it'll be a short eventually.
I'm sure it'll be a short, but it's definitely on Twitter. You can see that.
It's on X now because it's not Twitter anymore, even though
it's all a dumpster fire. It doesn't matter what we call it.
Yeah. But it's just still funny the time because I kept looking at him. We kept mentioning that during the post show. I kept looking at him since he had the title in his hands. And then Mark didn't help because he already planted the idea on our heads too. So I was like, I'm afraid. But yeah.
Daphne jumping in saying Dragunov would have an incredible match. Dragunov could have an incredible match with a broom if he tried. Sorry, I'm not having a good night with my cough tonight. There's a long told story that one of Vince's things that he would do when he would bring people in for auditions is he would hand them a broom and say, sell this match, or, this is your opponent, cut a promo. We've heard from Eric Bischoff when he was leaving the AWA to try to come to WWE before he ended up in WCW, that's what he had to do. He had to sell the broom as a potential world champion or something like that. Renee Young has talked about the same thing, how she was handed random objects and told to go ahead and, try to promote stuff. These are the types of things that Vince used to do. And it's a common phrase in the wrestling world that this person could go out with a broom and have a 5-star match. So, needless to say, that's a little bit more. I think Dragunov could have a 5-star match with a broom. We then get the family backstage, and Tony says that it's time to call him. And he's like, is he going to even answer? And he's like, well, if he answers, hopefully he'll come and help us. And my initial question was, is it 2 Dimes? Like, if the family needs a third man, the obvious answer in my mind was that I jumped to, knowing it's not going to be. It's 99% not going to be him, because I think he's under contract in AEW. I don't know when the last time he appeared, because Dark and Dark Elevation are gone. And that's the only places he would ever appear on there. But I was like, maybe that would be fun if they bring back 2 Dimes to go ahead and have a one-off with 2 Dimes to finish out the story. We'll see more of this story as we go. I'm going to let Ashton talk about this next segment as we have Dom and Rhea come to the ring.
They're terrible. We just saw Dom and Rhea in the ring talking about Dom's victory at the Great American Bash, and you know how he has that luchador legacy as he mentioned before as well. And then we had Dragon Lee interrupt him, and he basically challenges him for the title, and Rhea just likes to mock Dragon Lee in other words and tell him he's like, well, even for the title match, I'm gonna be in Dom's corner. And Dragon Lee said, well, I never said I was coming alone. The only thing I was expecting a lady for it to even the odds in this aspect, but we see on the Tron that it's Rey Mysterio of all people, of course, coming in and saying that he's going to be there next week to be in Dragon Lee's corner. And another mention is I don't want to say the word, of course, but they were just sizing each other up basically before this was happening. So we're gonna have Rey Mysterio accompanying Dragon Lee next week versus Dom. We have for the North American Championship here. Um, Overall, I feel like a pretty good segment in here. It was just a continuation of what we had happen backstage after the Great American Bash. Dragon Lee talking about the heritage that comes in from having the Mysterio name. That's something that Dom is obviously disrespecting with the heel that he is in this current storyline. But overall, I feel like it was a good segment. What did you think?
I like this. The thing that brings out Dragon Lee, I think that is interesting, is when Dom calls himself the greatest luchador ever. That's the one that brings out Dragon Lee. You won't say the word, so I will. Cojones.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee looks at Rhea, then looks at Dom, and then goes, Rhea's got your cojones.
Mm-hmm.
To which Rhea then stares at Dragon Lee and goes, Dom's cojones are bigger. It was fun. It was a nice back and forth. They all work well together. I'm excited to see Rey. Again, it's there to pop a rating. He's not going to stay. He's not going to do much. But it makes sense for the story. Dom keeps saying that he's the one who's doing the Mysterio name. Obviously, that means it's eventually going to bring Rey back. So it fills out the story quite nicely. Much better than what we'll come on to later. We then have Wesley storm into the locker room. I called it Mello's locker room until I realized it's just the men's locker room because
I thought it was Bella's locker at first too.
I really did think it was Mello's locker until I saw Oba Femi sitting in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But Wesley's irritated with everything that's going on. He says he's lost his last 3 matches, and Mello's like, dude, you need to calm the F down. Like, you can't be doing this. You can't be freaking out like this. And he's like, you don't understand. And I'm like, dude, did you not see what Mello's had to go through in his career? Like, the dude understands what happens when you lose. Like, it's not like he's never lost. There's a reason why he's a 2-time North American champion. He lost it twice. Once to you. I thought it was interesting that didn't come up, because I thought that would have.
Yeah, that's true.
But Mello tries to calm Wes down. Wes has no part of it. And Mello goes, you know what? Now I understand why Braun went crazy. All y'all are just crazy in here. I know why Braun snapped now. And I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Good story.
I was going to say, don't bring that name up, please.
We'll bring him up later. In comes the Metaphor Boys, as I call them. Ora Mensah and Noam Dar come walking in. And they start picking at Wesley, where they go, yeah, Dom beat you twice. And Mello's just like, dude, just calm it down, man. Like, you're not even the champion, man. You're like, when you're walking around here with a fake title.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this starts a brawl, and all of a sudden, this relatively empty locker room fills up with about 14 people in like 0.2 seconds. I love how standing just behind the camera, obviously, there was Malik Blade, Idris Enofe. Obviously, behind the shot was Obafemi, who started to grab the other 2 guys. And there was a few other people who grabbed the Metaphor Boys. But I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of people behind that camera to make sure we got those people out of the way. What did you think of this little segment here?
Yeah, like going back to what we mentioned, I really thought this was Bella's locker. At first, I thought it was random how there's so many people coming in here. I was like, the disrespect to the champion. And then I realized it's actually the men's locker. But it's like, I knew it was that kind of setup. It just made me think back of like, this is going to be interesting, Wesley and Carmelo moving forward. If, we decide to go that way. So it's like, I didn't think about that one. That's interesting. But I definitely want to see more of this.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, so Mello's next challenger is him. That makes sense.
Yep.
I can see that. That'll be a fun match. I mean, we've seen it before, but I'm fine seeing it again. It's a nice small feud to tide Mello over to his next big challenger. Apologies to all the Wesley fans who I've just insulted by saying that Wesley's not a big challenger. He's not a main eventer yet. He's good enough to be a main eventer. He will be a main eventer in the future, but as of right now, he's not on Carmelo's level. I mean, let's just be honest. Melo's wrestling at a level that's extremely high right now. With the matches with Braun Breaker, which were really good. Some of Braun's best matches. The match with Ilya Dragunov, which will never be one of Ilya's best matches because Ilya's wrestled Gunther. And once you've wrestled Gunther, nobody's going to have your best match. But he's wrestling at such an incredibly high level. While Wesley's done such a great job wrestling everybody and anybody and having great matches with those people. But for the North American Championship. The former A Championship. But since Melo doesn't hold it anymore, it's not. Fun fact, if Wesley holds the NXT belt, he'll be a Triple Crown champion. He will. He will indeed be a new Triple Crown champion. The only one is Johnny Gargano, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
For the men.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you count the women, well, Rhea's done it because she held both the UK and the UK women.
Yeah, I was going to say Adam, but
Adam Cole.
Yeah, I kept thinking of Adam, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, Adam Cole technically is as well because he technically did hold the tag team championships. Briefly, but he did. Chris Best saying, so if Ilya gets called up, does he become the one to take? No, I honestly don't think he does. I think he's on that brand, but I don't think he takes the IC title off Gunther. Everybody talking about after last night with Gable taking the title off of Gunther. You're all still too early. Look at the numbers. Gunther has to get to almost 500 days. Once Gunther gets close to 500 days, we can start talking about who's going to take the title off Gunther. But they've gotten this far. They're not taking it off him until he passes the Honky Tonk Man. It's just not happening.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
There's no reason to take that title off Gunther until he passes that record. Because, like I said, if this were 200 days into a 400-day reign, yeah, maybe we can talk about who's going to take the title off Gunther. But we still have a month and a half left to go. We need to get there because you don't get this close and not do it.
Yeah.
It's the reason why they didn't do it with Roman. Roman was close enough to 1,000. Mark, stop putting garbage in the chat. I'm not going to always put it up here. He's not. He's just not. No, Gallus Boys. You're spelling Gallus Boys wrong. It's not Ring General. It's Gallus Boys on top.
These two.
Mark, this is why we have to go get other Englishmen to do our shows. Because we need people that can talk common sense. Sorry, man. We then get my favorite segment of the night.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, this is one of my favorite parts.
This is the segment I wish I was a part of. Oh, it was great. So, Tia Hale is very sad. She's very quiet. She's got no energy. By the way, this is the first time I've ever liked Tia Hale. She only didn't talk. She didn't want to say nothing. She had no energy. She was delightful. She goes ahead and says that she didn't give up and, that Mr. Chase threw in the towel. He's like, no, I did. I threw in the towel to make sure that you didn't hurt yourself because I needed to protect you from yourself. And she wanted to step up to him about that and start saying something. And in comes Baron Corbin, my hero, the man who speaks what I want to talk about. My friend Rob, and Sad Tia is the best Tia. I agree. Sad Tia was definitely the best Tia.
No.
But Baron Corbin starts talking to them and he goes, here, you don't want to tell her, so I will. And he looks down. I love how he gets eye level with Thea Hale too. He doesn't just do it from his 6'7" position. He gets all the way down to her 5'4", and he looks her in the eyes and says, "You're not good enough. You hit your peak on Sunday. You might as well just quit." And that's the moment that Andre says, enough's enough. You and me are going to have a match. And I'm like, that's fine. I've gotten what I want. Baron Corbin. I have my thumbnail. Baron Corbin, eye to eye with Thea Hale. And the name of the show is going to be You're Not Good Enough. Great. I have my.
No, it's not. You're not enough.
We're not going to talk about that. Sad Thea, Ed's favorite. Yes, Sad Thea is absolutely Ed's favorite Thea. Why? Because she doesn't want to talk and she doesn't do anything. It's fantastic. What did you think of this segment here with Chase U and dealing with the character work, shall we say, with the three of them and dealing with the repercussions of the thrown towel?
I like, again, going back to the beginning, this is a character progression. It's like Thea lost the match, so you see her reacting to it this way, and it makes sense the way she is. And I think it's funny when you think about it from her perspective. I like the name though. I'll pin that one. When she wants to say something to Chase, but every time she kind of goes to, she doesn't, because she knows that's her teacher. That's person that did Chase you from the get go. So it's like I understand her kind of looking at him that way, because I'm like the same with like the people that I know in general, like older adults, that I'm like, I want to say something, but then I'm like, I can't say anything. So I can see how that, her perspective on that too. And again, it goes back to the story, and the story keeps progressing. Even if she's done with Tiffany, the Chase U storyline is still going, and she's still applying everything that she's feeling to this storyline here.
I will say that Thea's character work is top notch. Like, I know I like to pick on her, and it's fun, and it's great, and it makes great clips. It really does. But her character work for this character has been exceptional. She has her character. She knows what it is. She plays it to a T. And even now, they are using the one thing that a lot of wrestling companies forget is when you lose a match, you should feel like you've failed. You should feel like it's a bad thing. Yeah, and so many wrestlers try to brush off losses like they don't matter. And every now and then, it's nice to see somebody who goes for their dream and it fails. And you see the little bit of the depression and the bad feelings. So this character work for her was fantastic. Things that aren't fantastic is Mel's least favorite segment on the show, Dijak squashing Eddy Thorpe. I have no notes for this match other than Dijak beats Eddy in a slightly too quick match.
I didn't know what to think of this, to be honest. I just thought, I knew that, it's the first match, so I wasn't expecting much of it because it's the introduction of it. And then later on, we get the longer matches. But there was nothing really that stood out here either. It just happened so quickly. Hello!
We speak Mel's name and her tag team partner appears. If any of you were trying to go ahead and give the G1 a follow, you need to go ahead and follow this man, that Canada dude. He is fantastic. Him and Mel have their Andre and Mel Ball wrestling talk show where they talk all about Stardom and New Japan. And right now they're in the middle of the beginning. They're in the beginning. They're not in the middle. They're in the beginning of the G1. Yes. Normally it'd be towards the middle. They're already on night 9 or 10 of the G1. But if you want to go ahead and get caught up, know what's going on with that, go ahead and give them a follow. They also just went ahead and reviewed on their Chop Talk show the latest episode of Love Pro Wrestling. I believe it was Violence, I think was the name of it. With a great ladder match between Zoe Sager and Gigi Ray.
Mm-hmm. There you go. The middle of the G1.
No, this is still the beginning. It's the G1. There's about 40 nights of the G1 coming this year because they have like 30 people. Dijak versus Eddy Thorpe. Any thoughts other than this match should have been at least 2 minutes longer? Eddy should have gotten some offense in.
Yeah, I was speechless by this. Like, how do you treat Eddy like this? Just like a clean win too. It wasn't anything like happening any way, shape, or form, and nothing really happened that really stood out. I was like, I can't believe this match happened. I really can't.
Oh, there are only 19 nights, and they're on night 11. So there you go. They're in the middle. Yeah, Eddy Thorpe did deserve more time. No poor Thea Hale. No poor Thea Hale. But yes, Eddy Thorpe did deserve more time. However, I felt like this show was pretty well paced. None of the matches got too much time. None of the matches really felt like they were too short, with the exception of this match just didn't feel right. Like there was something wrong with this match. Maybe it's my own internal things where I thought Eddy was getting higher up the roster than he was, and they're just bringing him back down to earth, but it just seemed weird. Something didn't seem quite right. They're treating Eddy like this because they've done a terrible job with his character so far. I can't disagree with that. They really haven't given you a reason, if you don't know who he is or what he's done, to super invest in him. He's done a good job with his matches, but they're not giving us a reason to care. And Mark's not wrong with that statement. Darn amazing. It was a 3 stages of hell match. Yes.
Also, you're trying to tell me that Mark did make sense just now. Mark that down, just so you know.
Yeah. He's still a crazy Englishman who doesn't understand how to put Gallus boys on top. Just, it's fine. Every now and then, you know what? Every now and then, a blind squirrel finds a nut. A broken clock is right twice a day. Mark occasionally gets something right. The things just move on. Tony D's on backstage. He's on the phone with whomever. He's got it, and they confirm that if Tony if he does this for Tony, they're going to be all square with whatever situation they were having, and everything will be great. It's nice that this person is so close to Florida, isn't it? That this person isn't, on the road, say, heading to Ohio for SmackDown this week, It's nice that they just happen to be in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I occasionally get it. Anyways, besides me and Mark's heat, we then have Dana Brooke and Kalani backstage. I took no notes of this. I was paying more attention to the fact that all of a sudden I realized, and could for certain say it, that the post that Astrid showed me earlier about Carmelo's birthday with his girlfriend, where his girlfriend is actually Kalani. I think her last name is James. I never write her last name. I just put Kalani on my notes every time I see her.
Jordan
James. It doesn't matter. She's not going anywhere. Do you have any thoughts on this? I honestly don't know what they said.
No.
They talked about a dark side in cookies, I think, or something. I don't know.
Well, first Dana's watching a little bit of the match that she had with Cora, and then she's like, you need to get this killer instinct. That's what she told Kalani. It's like, we've been doing this just gymnastics thing for like a couple of weeks now, but you need to find that killer instinct. You need to fight for yourself. If not, they'll probably eat you alive, most likely. It's what she's telling her. And then just in other words, trying to tell her, it's like, you need to, she's like, when I picked up that candlestick, I was seeing red, and you could tell this is what it was like during the match. Like, that was her mentality. He's like, I was thinking not only of Cora, but I'm thinking of all the haters and all the messages, I guess, online, and that was her, like, motivation towards the match. So she basically told that to Kalani. Kalani kind of looked sad in a way. And her facial expression was not what I expected it to be during this segment, though.
She just wants to go out with her boyfriend for his birthday. All it is. By the way, happy birthday, Mello. Happy birthday. We then get Lola and Elektra having a quick win, in which I was correct when I messaged Astrid when I saw that this match was taking place tonight, and goes, this match ain't getting 5 minutes. And I was correct. It was like 4:40. Just under, but it did not get to the 5-minute mark. There was nothing wrong with this match other than, like Astrid said in our chat back between the two of us, it's another case of 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Feroz and Leon have a great showing on Sunday with Dragon Lee and everybody else, and then they get on their own and poop the bed.
It's just, not only that, I was thinking of, once I saw it like happening on screen, I was thinking, okay, it's Lola starting off, so I wouldn't have her lose so quickly. But then at the same time, I wouldn't want the girls to lose the momentum they have from Sunday. I'm like, they had a really good showcasing. And it's like, how does it go in here? I really didn't think which one, but then it happened, and it was too quickly, and then Lola won, and I just couldn't believe it.
So you wonder the moment I knew that Lola and Elektra were going to win? When they showed me the TikTok video of Lola and Elektra watching the show and talking about how they can't win like that if they don't have Dragon and Nathan. And I'm like, oh, so that's why they're going to lose. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, nice to see another women's tag team getting a win. The problem is you did it at the expense of the one women's tag team that had any motivation and any forward momentum. And that's a bad thing. It's just... It wasn't a great week for progression in the women's division. With the exception of Thea Hale, none of the women's stories progressed in a good way.
No, and it started when it wasn't even an NXT thing. It started on Raw. This started from the get-go on Raw because, I mean, to obviously go like get a little pause on NXT. You have all the storyline with Trish and Becky, and we're thinking, oh, the end is gonna be SummerSlam because obviously it's one of the biggest pay-per-views, and then they don't even get on the card, and then they have Raquel attack Rhea, so we're thinking, oh, this is gonna be on the card too to give us, at least 4 women's matches. Doesn't even, she just injures Raquel again. Here, go back to rehab. There's no title match. And then we go from potentially having 4 women's matches to only having 2. And it just...
Again, it's a good percentage. We have 2 women's matches out of, 8 matches on the card? It's not bad.
Yeah, but I'm like, but still you have potential to do 4. And I feel like those 4 were exactly what could have been on the card, especially Becky and Trish. It's like, this is building for months. I feel like the good end to the story would have been SummerSlam.
Here's the reason why I say Becky and Trish is good that they don't end at SummerSlam. The reason I'll give you is Trish is a Canadian icon. The match is going to happen in Winnipeg. They want Trish to kind of just finish. Because remember, this is the last, apparently, according to the internet rumor mill, and we all know how right and wrong they can be, that this is the end of Trish's contractual obligations with the company on this new run. So she's probably losing, and she's probably going away for a while. And if that's the case, might as well let her go in Winnipeg. Plus, it'll help with ticket sales for Winnipeg. You've already sold out SummerSlam. You don't need another women's match to sell out SummerSlam.
So, and SummerSlam has 4 main events.
Yeah. No, SummerSlam has 1 main event and 3 matches that are...
Not according to them. So that's the other funny thing, which is funny. Yeah, when I heard 4 main events, I was just like, what?
It's the same way Damian Priest versus Bad Bunny main evented Backlash?
Yeah.
It did not main event Backlash. If you don't go on last, you don't main event.
Yeah, exactly how it's going to go.
Unless SummerSlam is 4 nights and all those matches are the last match on those nights, then they don't main event. If there are 2 nights of WrestleMania, you have 2 main events. Main event of night 1, main event of night 2.
Okay, clip this and send it to them.
I would love to clip this and send them to them. You want to know what the funny thing is? They don't give a shit. All they care about is the money.
Yeah.
By the way, is it funny how we all thought when Triple H got in charge of Monday Night Raw and everything else that the women's divisions would get better and better with Triple H at the helm? And if you believe the internet rumors, Vince wants the women's matches and Triple H keeps nixing them. Parrish also says they never wanted Rhea versus Raquel at SummerSlam. It was always meant to be a Rumble thing.
Yeah, but still, it's like when you think about what was happening on Raw, because she came out and she kind of confronted Rhea, then you thought that was going to be for SummerSlam. But no.
Barry's not wrong here. Again, going back to talking about the NXT Women's Tag Team, we needed an NXT Women's Tag Team title. Yeah, if only they weren't merged with the Women's Championships on Raw. It's almost like we couldn't just have kept the Unholy Union down there because...
nowhere to be found now.
They're nowhere to be found. My poor girls are nowhere. Like, we could have just kept them on NXT at that rate.
Yeah.
All right. Bashing of the women's division is over now. But see, this is the importance of being able to talk about the positives and the negatives so that when we go ahead and say things about AEW's women division, like Astrid did in her piece, when I go ahead and bash AEW without watching the product and just glimpse through the times of matches and things that I see on the shows and go, they can do better. When you see things like that, you have to go ahead and call them out. The same thing happens when NXT does a shitty job. We sit here and we take the time to put them to task. Yeah. You had 2 women's matches on this show that didn't total 10 minutes on the show. Mm-hmm. You had more storyline development with Tiffany Stratton cutting a TikTok promo and Thea Hale being in a men's match than you did for all of your other women's wrestlers combined. And the longest sustained women's stuff on the show is a 4-minute video package about Roxanne Perez going home. Come on, NXT. You're not AEW. You can do better than this. I would have had a battle royal and on the kickoff, and then have those matches back and have the women's matches on the main card. Here's the thing. I'll go back to it. I think Trish versus Becky is better as a television main event on a show on a Raw, where you can give them 10-15 minutes and not have to squeeze them in and make a pay-per-view go from 3 hours to 3.5 and give them 5.5, 6 minutes instead. Because we all know Tribal Combat's going 35 minutes.
Another point too that was brought up too. It's an audio. I forgot. It has to be last year. After when Becky said that she had to fight to get her and Bianca on the SummerSlam card when it happened, because it wasn't even penciled in for the card. So just like, it makes you think of not only that, but how hard the woman had to fight backstage to get these sort of matches to happen. So it's incredible to think of, like, they have kind of that internal battle, within the company in itself too. So just interesting to think about too.
And also, like, I'm going to reiterate this point because I think it's getting lost in the shuffle when people keep talking about the women's matches being cut from this SummerSlam card. We still have 2 women's matches on this card. It's not like we're cutting women's matches and we have none. We still have a triple threat for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Asuka, Bianca Belair, and Charlotte Flair. And we have MMA rules between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. And it's finally Ronda Rousey's last match in WWE. So it's like, we have 2 really good matches on this card already. We don't necessarily need Becky versus Trish. Again, we can save it for television. Make it a main event in Canada. Go ahead and promote the hell out of that shit. Because honestly, I don't care about Becky versus Trish, to be honest.
I know, but that's the obviously your point of view. But if you think about too the way it's been on TV with them lately, I was like, I don't expect the match to be long. I'm like, when they could have, I feel like lately they haven't had a lot of time for the women on the show either. So I was like, does it give me good faith on how it's going to go? Unfortunately,
the best thing that Trish versus Becky has done is given us a positive side of Zoe Stark. Becky versus Trish has given us a good Zoe Stark. That's what it did. It helped put Zoe Stark over, which is all it was ever going to do. So we take that match and we pay it off whenever, and we move on to something else. Speaking of moving on, we get Tiffany with a TikTok promo where she goes ahead. Astrid showed this to me earlier today, and I said, oh, that would be nice to see on the show. I mean, they won't put it on the show, but it'd be nice to see it on the show.
I didn't think it was going to be on the show.
And they do. And it's Tia going ahead and putting over Thea Hale, talking about how hard the match was and how she almost quit. And I'm like, no, you don't need to lie about this. It's okay. You can say that Thea sucks. It's okay. It's not a bad thing, Tiff. And she says that next week she's either going to call out her next opponent or have a Tiffabration or go ahead and just do whatever the hell she wants. And it's going to be fabulous. And as I said the first time I saw this promo with Astrid, I want her to have a segment with Carmella. But I don't want it to be Carmella post-baby. I want it to be Carmella, like, ready to pop baby pop. Because I want them to be like, oh, it's so nice. Look at you. You're pregnant. You're so great. Because I feel like these 2 characters are like 2 sides of the same quarter. One's heads, one's tails. Like they're basically the same character. And I think it'd be hysterical to have her talk about Carmella's pregnancy and be all friendly with Carmella face to face. And then as soon as Carmella walks away, be like, man, she gained weight. And just like because we all know it's a joke and we're all in on the joke because they were just talking about the fact. Like, you have to spell it out, because if you don't, it's going to get into a lot of trouble. Like another segment that you just did. So maybe we shouldn't do this because we have a segment coming up that did bad things. But I think that'd be great. Carmella and her, and then Tiffany making fun of Carmella and setting up Carmella versus Tiffany on the main roster in the future. That could be fun. Astrid doesn't agree. We then get the tag match, which is the best match of the night between Wesley and Carmelo Hayes and the Metaphor Boys. I hate the Metaphor entrance. I know.
I
Astrid says
love it.
I hate it. It's stupid. It's dumb. It takes way too long, and it makes honestly using the green on Lash Legend, as I said to Astrid, makes her look like a bargain bin Trinity.
No.
Yep. Yep. Lash Legend looks like a Walmart great value version of
Hey,
Trinity.
Walmart brand's not bad. You can say Wish maybe.
No, because Wish is actually all right.
No, it's not.
Aldi's brand.
Oh, this is not bad either.
Aldi's is terrible. Some of those knockoff brands of Aldi's. I had their Cheez-Its the other day, and they're pretty awful. Although I will go to bat for their chocolate brioche. The chocolate chip brioche is fantastic at Aldi's.
They just say Wish so that we were on the same page.
Sure. It doesn't. She's bargain basement crap version of Trinity. With the green behind her and the green glow and the whole like flexing and this, that, but yeah. Yeah. I don't need it. It's a silly entrance. It takes way too long. And also, why is Jakara Jackson holding the cup during the entrance? Why is it Noam holding the cup? I don't understand this. It's not even the right cup.
Hey, it makes her look cool when she poses with it, though.
American Target, Trinity. Canadian Target, Lash Legend. There we go. Because it's Canadian. Everything's worse in Canada.
Yeah.
Let's see how long that goes over before Parrish runs in the room. What do you think of this match?
Yeah, like you said, best match of the night. I think the ending is definitely, even though I love the match in itself, the ending was definitely my favorite part. Dar Mason, you got it correct right there. Look how beautiful that looks. No, I like the part here.
A women's heritage cup, I think, would be fun.
Yeah.
Because then they could have 3-minute matches. They're already used to having matches in 3 minutes, so it makes it a whole lot better for them.
Damn. I don't know how I come back from that one.
Just go ahead and talk about the match.
Really? No, I feel like the ending in itself is what I really love the most, having that part of it looked like to me almost like Carmelo was pushing Noam out of the way as we have Wesley doing the cardiac kick, so the miscommunication there. He hits Carmelo the cardiac kick, so here comes Mensah. I think he hits Wesley as this is happening, so Noam gets to pin Wesley. And I feel like it's great because it adds to Wes' frustration right now that he has going on in the miscommunication and the part with Carmelo. And I was like, that's when I thought, I was like, these two, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this. But no, the ending was definitely my favorite part of this.
Yeah, and the crowd picked up on something. I don't know if you heard it, but the crowd chanted, "You effed up, you effed up, you effed up." So here's what happened, the part that got screwed up. So you described it perfectly fine. Mello goes ahead and runs in and for some reason pushes Noam Dar out of the way for the cardiac kick. I don't know if Oro was supposed to push Mello and Mello just decides to run because he knows that's the spot he needs to be in. I don't know what happened there. Either way, he gets hit with the cardiac kick. While Wesley is looking at that and trying to figure out what's going on with that, all of a sudden, Oro takes to the top rope, and then you just see Oro like fall down right next to Wesley, and then get up and kick him in the face. Which is when the crowd starts chanting, "You effed up, you effed up, you effed." I'm like, what did he do? What was the plan here, buddy? Like, was he supposed to be doing it? Was it supposed to be like the top rope drop kick that he does, which I think is what's supposed to happen. Maybe Wes wasn't looking, so he's felt that whole segment. While it was the best part of the match, all of it seemed like it was a beat off somewhere. Somebody missed a spot somewhere, and it just chain reacted into everybody missing a spot. But it sets up a great thing. You have Mello and Wes going back and forth, and it seems like that's what we're going to get for a title program, or Mello's next program, whether it's a title program or not. Seems like where we're going next, which is great. It moves Wesley out of the North American title picture, brings him up into the potential world championship contenders, and it gives us another one extra spot for somebody new to jump in to the North American title picture, which is good because we need more room in that title picture because, God, there's a lot of guys there.
Yeah.
Braun gets a promo where he calls Vaughn a nobody. He calls Vaughn's dad a nobody. And he says that Vaughn is soft. I don't know if he watched. He said he watched the promos, but I don't think he paid attention. Because if he thought that Vaughn was soft, I don't. His skull was so hard they had to do surgery, Braun. Like, it's the opposite of soft. It's hard. I know you're an idiot and that your dad thinks that, people don't deserve rights and you get things backwards and your uncle can't do math, but hard and soft are opposites. So when you have to cut something open to give it more room, that means it's too hard, not too soft. All right, Braun? 33 and a third plus 66 and 2/3 equals
That makes
100.
more sense. Yeah.
I do I have to do Steiner math to help you understand this one, Braun? No? I think we're good. Yeah. We don't need to talk about that anymore, do we? Guys, I think Brock's like a muscle-headed... No! He has to have a brain in his head to be a muscle-headed jock. He doesn't even have that. Mandy Rose is one while Lash Legend is the other, right, Ed? Yeah. Exactly, you're getting it. Hard, soft. Baron Corbin versus Andre Chase. This was a fun match. It wasn't a great match, but it was a fun match. Lots of storytelling potential here. We see Baron Corbin doing what Baron Corbin should have done at the pay-per-view. I'll be honest. Yeah. He should have just been winning at the pay-per-view as opposed to whatever the hell they had happen at the pay-per-view. By the way, I heart that crowd in Austin, Texas for turning on Gable Steveson and just absolutely shitting on anything that man had. Just fantastic. Thank you. Because y'all the real MVPs, let me tell you. Because WWE is quickly rethinking everything they were doing with Gable Steveson.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a babyface. I don't know if you know that. And as Tom Collahue put it, if you can't get booed when you're in a match with Baron Corbin, you're doing it wrong.
Dang, that's so accurate.
Before we get to the Andre Chase versus Baron Corbin match, we get the most problematic thing NXT has done in about 2.5 years. Ash had asked me not to bring this up, but I'm going to do it anyways. So Axiom comes up to Dom and Rhea as Dom and Rhea are walking out of the building. And Dominic says, "Didn't we just deal with you in the ring?" To which Axiom goes, "No, what are you talking about?" And he's like, yeah, I just dealt with you in the ring. I'm going to see you next week. He's like, "No, that was Dragon Lee." And then, without missing a beat, Dom just goes, "Well, then who are you?" You know what? I'm surprised he didn't just say they all look alike. And when they say they, I don't mean you idiot people. Before you take me to task, they are not what you think. They are not Mexicans. They are not Spanish. They are not Hispanic people because they don't all look alike. You know who does look alike? Masked wrestlers. They all look alike to Dominic Mysterio. They all look like his daddy. So he confuses them all. And Rhea thinks Dragon Lee is Batman. But besides that, they all look alike. Masked wrestlers. Again, masked wrestlers all look alike to Dominic Mysterio. I dare Dom and Rhea to do that, Anderson Malik. Yeah. No, I'm not digging a hole. I'm not digging a hole. This is important to talk about because I guarantee you this is going to be on the internet tomorrow with people taking this segment to task. And most importantly, Dragon Lee is Mexican. Axiom is Spanish. There is a massive difference. It's just like, I don't want anything to do with this. Astrid,
yeah. I'm just saying we don't all look the same, even if
I,
you mean just masked
I
wrestlers.
agree.
No, I mean with the line, not you. I'm like, I know it's a
Oh,
heel thing, but I just like the overall like sense of it. I was like, and I'm glad that I was writing in caps already as I was taking my notes, and I remember like writing it too, and I go, I know this is a heel thing, like that aside, because obviously I know what this means, but I was like, it just makes it look like you're saying that all Spanish people look the same, which I was not happy about. So yeah, not great on my end with this line or anything like that. So not fun.
well, Mustafa Ali comes to help make all this a little bit better by trying to get a match with
A
Dominic
little.
Mysterio, to which he gets interrupted by Axiom because he interrupted Axiom and he was rude and he didn't ask for permission to go ahead and take over. And so Dominic just walks away, and so apparently we're going to get Axiom versus Mustafa Ali next week, I would imagine,
Probably.
which is fine. It'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, NXT, you can do better. You didn't need to do this. You could have done better. There were many other things you could have done with Axiom. He could have, again, most importantly, you could literally just have Dominic call him a child and gotten a much better joke out of it than by saying, "Didn't we just deal with you in the ring?"
Yeah.
Oh, Ashley, I'm gonna let you take the next one because it's Roxanne's homecoming.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh.
No, I didn't say I don't know.
No.
I'm saying Dominic couldn't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
understand what Axiom looks like. He's the one with the white mask. Astrid, Roxanne's homecoming.
No, I can do it.
Well, I didn't take notes, so you better do it.
No, I really like this having like not only like her coming home and literally just kind of putting like a little video diary for her in this aspect and having her family comment on and even her younger sister too about what it's like for her being in this match. And even as you see her getting ready, she's talking about getting advice from Booker T and being at the airport, arriving there, getting people taking pictures of her and even showing her what getting attacked um by I was gonna say B Priestley by Blair at the DreamCon too, like having all this package. I just feel like it was such a good way to highlight everything that that happened to her from going back home to the ending here of the match and showing her aggressiveness at the another match too. So I overall enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I thought it was an alright promo. The best part of this whole promo for me was seeing Emily May from New Japan and Women's Wrestling Talk jumping in there at DreamCon and being able to have that interview, knowing it's a setup for the match. It's always nice to see them bringing in people. You know, it's a setup for a match when a brawl breaks out with Wesley standing right there.
That's true.
Because if Wesley were there and he saw somebody walking up to Roxanne that he didn't recognize, Wesley would have stopped it. WWE security would have stopped it. It wouldn't have happened. We get somebody showing up to the arena wearing cool boots. We see Metaphor backstage talking about their big win, and then Tyler Bate comes in and they make some cheesy jokes that I didn't get, and they talk about going to Tibet, and apparently Jakara Jackson has no idea where Tibet is. She could use an old education on the countries of the world. But we're getting the fake champ versus Tyler Bate next week.
Yeah.
Or as WWE put it, the Heritage Cup match.
I like that detail though. I gotta say that for sure.
We get the Schism interrogation, where they go ahead and start interrogating everybody. The first two they go ahead and do with no issue, and they're not who they think they are. They go ahead and get ready to do the third, and he turns his back to the crowd, and he starts taking all this stuff off. That damn jacket is back! No! I thought I was done with you. Jiro. What are you doing back? Didn't you get fired? How are you still here?
He's alive and well. Thanks for asking.
I didn't ask. I didn't want him to be alive and well. I wanted him to be in the same place as Boa. By God, the jacket is back. The rest of this segment, by the way, sucks. The only good part of this segment was the fact that I'm irritated that Jiro is back because it's a gimmick. And no, by Boa, I did not mean the busting out award.
No, we're
I
good.
meant Boa, the supremely dissatisfying wrestler who's on NXT, who best days were being, what was her name? Xia Li's understudy.
Oh,
Wait, which one's been on Level Up? Jiro or Boa? Because I'll believe it if Boa's been on Level Up, because God, he knows he needs to level
I
up.
really forgot this thing was happening. All of a sudden, when they say Schism, I was like, what the heck are they doing in the ring? I forgot this was advertised.
Yeah, it wasn't good. They go ahead and unmask everybody. None of them are the Creeds, and the Creeds are on the big screen with a really bad green screen. Although the green screen is slightly better than our green screens, but not by much. Really cheesy backgrounds, and the jacket one. Jiro, the jacket one.
Jiro jacket, see?
You know what? I'm just going to start calling him Jiro, the jacket one. It's fine. Honestly, you don't need to know his name. He's terrible. You don't need to know him. Let's put it this way. He went ahead and interrupted Kushida while Kushida was going to the bathroom. That's all you need to know. He's terrible. He has no sign of etiquette. The Schism introduction, the interrogation was terrible. It's setting up another match between them that I don't want to see. Hopefully, this will be the end of the dyad in the Schism, because honestly,
how many times have we ever gone through this?
Honestly, I'd rather them be off TV than doing the crap that they have to do. Remember when I said it was a good thing that NXT wasn't just mothballing them and putting them on the shelves? No, I take that back. They should have just mothballed them and put them on the shelves. It would be better than what they've been doing.
I just feel like that. I feel like that with this, for whatever happens, I'm like, yep, they're not gonna lose. They're just gonna be there anyway. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like Vince is in charge sometimes and he's just doing this just for the fun of it? Like, I know Vince isn't in charge of NXT. I honestly don't think he even understands that NXT still exists. I really do. It was the Creeds attempting comedy, and they're bad at it, and they shouldn't do it anymore. The best thing about this, I'm assuming for Astrid's sake, was that Julius, I don't think, had his shirt on.
Maybe.
You know, I know you know, so just tell me yes or no.
Perhaps.
We get Cora going ahead and leaving the locker room with...
Well, what that was from last week, though. I almost missed that.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't appear on the show last week. I know that.
No.
It was 5 girls who nobody knows and potentially Stevie Turner.
It was Stevie. No, potentially.
She might not be Stevie Turner anymore. Who the hell knows?
I don't know.
And then we get our main event. The family has recruited Santos Escobar of the LWO, which, by the way, is a fantastic touch. Tying up loose ends, because the Legado del Fantasma, last time they were here, were working for Tony D'Angelo because the D'Angelo family won the big match before we got rid of 2 dimes and threw them off the bridge. And then the LWO just decided to up and leave NXT and go to the main roster. So it makes perfect sense to bring Santos back to pop a rating and to have the, oh my God, look at Santos moment, which was good. But also, it does a good job of tying up loose ends on a storyline. So good job, NXT. You did something right.
I love the ending of, like, he goes like this, but he goes, one time only. That's about it. But no, it was nice to see him. But I'm like, I feel even happier now for the people that are going to NXT, because I think about it this way. Well, at least when I was going, it was about $10-20 to go. And I was like, if you get Rhea on a weekly basis and Dom on a weekly basis, and then people here and there like Santos this week and Remister the next, that is definitely worth the ticket in itself already for me. So
Legado did leave Elektra for Zelina Vega. I mean, Astrid's here, so I'm not going to say what I was about to say. I'm going to leave it.
yeah.
Astrid, I'm going to say it anyways. It's downgrade. Legado downgraded when they went to the main roster and swapped out Elektra for Zelina. She still doesn't feel like she belongs with them. I'm sorry. She's never felt like she belongs with Legado del Fantasma. Mark, loved NXT this week and hope NXT keeps bringing main roster guys down to come to NXT. I love the main roster guys too. I just like the fact the biggest thing that this show did is it did storyline progression for 60% of the people who were on the roster. Mm-hmm. If you're not Tiffany Stratton or Thea Hale, and you're in the women's division, you didn't have a good night. You didn't progress much of your stories. But if you're anybody else, you did very good with storyline progression, getting us to the next step in a lot of these stories, setting up new stories. Next week looks like a fun show. We've got a Heritage Cup match. We've got a North American title match. I think the title's on the line. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what
Noam claimed he's a fighting champion, so I'm assuming the title's on the line.
Better be.
Parrish says Thea Hale will be an NXT Rumble entrant in 2024. Mark my words. Probably. That seems like a good idea. But before we go ahead and get to the calendar, I want to go ahead and show off a little something for tomorrow night. I'm OLED, and down here is my tag team partner, the Chris Parrish. Thank you for joining us.
Winner of WrestleDraft.
Yes. Season 1 winner, yada, yada, yada. Triple H's favorite, handed everything he got. That's not important. We're heading into Season 2. This Wednesday night, Season 2 starts right after AEW Dynamite, 10 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Saskatchewan, Edmonton time. We're going to go ahead and do Season 2 of WrestleDraft. Parrish, what can the fans expect this season?
Well, as you can see, we got a new layout out here. We know we're going to look a little different. We're going to have a new viewpoint. But you know what? We're going to be a little bit more interactive with the people. Why? Because of this layout. And that is one thing. We want you to be a little bit more interactive with us during Season 2. And because of that, we're going to have a lot of fun.
So remember to join us this Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite. Me and Chris Parrish will go live. Season 2 of WrestleDraft. We will go ahead and do weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. Everything heading into the first premium live event of Season 2. We'll see you then. Goodbye. So that's what the channel's got coming up this weekend. It's SummerSlam weekend, and we've got it packed. We've got me and Andre C going ahead and doing pay-per previews, where we go ahead and preview everything that'll be available Saturday afternoon just before SummerSlam happens. And after SummerSlam happens, come on back here, talk to us. We're going to have Chris Best from the Raw Watch Along. From the Raw Watch Along as well, we're going to have OMD and some other guests joining them as well. To be determined. We got a couple people in the mix. We're not sure who it exactly is going to be. But Astrid, where can people find you this week?
Well, aside from next week doing Taking Over all over again with you, you can find me on Thursday Respect Radio with Papa Smokes and Bobby Munson for the first time ever. I'll be on there too. I'm not sure if we'll do Ladies Message Showcase this week. I know we had a little bit of scheduling conflicts. But yeah, aside from that, you can check out on my Twitter. I do have the new video I did for my wrestling anniversary that it was a little bit delayed. And my article from Body Slam that netted some of my highlights if you go to my profile. And I guess to like kind of put it like that, hopefully sometime this week you will see my new vlogs coming to my channel that I'll be adding sometime soon. So I don't know when, but that'll happen sometime this week. But you can find me, as you see there, Twitter and Blue Sky, Astrid Pizarro, Instagram and Threads, Astrid Pizarro 20. And that's about it for me.
And for me, you can find me. Let me get the right page up. You can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. I don't need no blue skies. I like my dark skies. I don't need no threads. I got my nice t-shirt right here. It's all set. You can also find all my gaming content at edfries2002. I will eventually be streaming some more gaming content on that in the near future. Life's been busy. We're trying to get used to it, but I will get back to a streaming schedule at some point soon. Like I said, we have Wrestle Draft coming up tomorrow night. Me and Chris Parrish join forces again we're joining forces to play the game, to battle against each other in the game. It's my GM mode, Season 2. You can also find, like I said, me and Andre C. for the preview show for SummerSlam. We'll be going ahead and taking care of that. And then next Tuesday, I'll be back here with Astrid, because I like working with the natural.
You better.
And you know what? We're going to need it this week because we got a lot of shows coming up. Astrid's on a show Thursday. She's got Lady Wrestling Showcase coming up sometime in the near future. She's got all kinds of busy stuff to do, write her reviews and whatnot, write another editorial. You can go ahead and go rogueenergy.com, scan that QR code, and use OLE Pods to get 10% off your order. That's right. If you go to rogueenergy.com and use the promo code OLE Pods, you get 10% off your order. We all know my favorite flavor. 1, 2, 3.
Watermelon.
There we go.
There you go.
Everybody
I thought you were going to say it with me. That's not fun.
No, I wanted everybody else to say it. It's like when you go to a Taylor Swift concert. She doesn't have to sing. She just wants the crowd to sing for her. I've watched the shows. I know what happens there. She doesn't sing.
Sure.
She's overrated.
No, she's not. According to a report, it's the people that hire GPAs actually listen to her music. Thanks.
What's that?
I'll send you that article. You'll see.
That's fine. Like most of the other articles, I probably won't even do it. It's fine. But for me, OLED Ed Fries the heel. For the natural, the babyface Pizarro. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.